23rd November 2011, Ibrahim Ondego, a man described by neighbors as one who kept to himself and a father of 3, was accompanied by his 13-year-old son Joseph Nyaberi. The two were headed to Kawangware Market to sell vegetables. Unknown to them, this would be the day they would meet their death. Ibrahim's wife Joyce Ondego had just left their Kawangware home for Kisii County on the eve of 22nd November 2011 to strike a deal over a small parcel of land where she would be planting maize and beans to diversify the family's source of income. Little did she know that this would be the last time she would see her husband and son alive.
Sasa ndio nikapiga simu kwa Isaka. Isaka ndiye akaniambia, mami, kwa nini ulienda nyumbani na baba yetu ameuliwa na Nyaberi? Ukai, huyu mtoto anaongea nini?
Ibrahim and his son Joseph Nyaberi had left their house at around 3:15 a.m. headed to the Kawangware Market. Just about 50 meters away from their house, 13-year-old Joseph Nyaberi noticed that she had left behind 400 shillings with her brother. He rushed back to the house to collect the money. Minutes later, gunshots filled the air.
Akauliza, Kalonzo, unaoa dadi na tunaenda soko. Sasa vile mtoto alisema hivyo, yeye akasutiwa hivyo, akaendelea na msendi akamruhusia masaa 3.
Bro ni mtoto mdogo sana kupigwa risasi. Hata wenyewe si wangeangalia waone ni mtoto mdogo. Hata kama wangefikiria ni mwizi ati ni mistake. Ule alikuwa mtoto mdogo tena sana. Huwezi sema alikuwa kama mimi.
On hearing the gunshots and the wailing of his younger brother, Isaac tried calling his father twice to no avail. Wrought with anxiety, he woke up his neighbor and requested him to accompany him to the scene of the incident. At exactly 4 a.m. when the gunfire had died down, Isaac and his neighbor Rigi walked to the scene of crime, where a crowd was gathering fast. On inquiring who had been shot, the policeman chased them away. With a heavy heart, Isaac could not just walk away. Something deep within him prompted to try and take a peek to see who had been shot. At first glance, Isaac noticed his brother's open shoes next to a body in a pool of blood.
Brother wangu akitoka hapa aliniomba open zangu. Nikamwambia wewe chukua ndo hizo. Hiyo ndio tu nilitangulia kuona.
Minutes later, a police vehicle arrived at the scene of the incident in what would later turn out to be the first step in the making of a massive cover-up.
Bunduki babangu amekewa kwa kichwa, alafu na brother wangu panga. Nikauliza bunduki na panga zinafanya nini hivyo, na babangu hajaitoka hata na silaha.
Nasikiange tu watu wanauawa, wanawekewa bunduki ya fege.
Ibrahim Ondego and his son Joseph Nyaberi, a promising young footballer, were added to the statistics of innocent Kenyans who had fallen on the wayside, courtesy of police bullets. The most shocking outcome of my visit to Kawangware area was the overwhelming testimonials I received from residents of a widespread, systematic, well-planned extrajudicial executions allegedly conducted on a regular basis by the Kenya police. 16-year-old Felix Wanyoike was a charming young man. He is described as one who made friends easily, a young man who did not struggle in the social setting, one whose charisma had wooed neighbors both young and old. But 10th December 2010 was the last day Margaret Muthoni saw her 16-year-old son Felix. He left his mother's house for the photo studio. His mother Margaret had not had a decent meal in her house for the past 1 week, so that evening she decided to cook the little food she had managed to get for her 2 sons. Little did she know that her elder son would not show up for supper.
Yaani siku nikakuja nikapika na nikamwekea chakula. Nikafikiri kwamba mzee kuja kuniita, hakuja kuniita. Asubuhi yake nikasikia kijana mwingine amekuja amenikongea dirisha. Akaniita mama Sui, Sui yako wapi? Nikamwambia nilikuwa na yeye nikashtuka kwa usingizi nikaamka. Nikachukua katoto kangu nikaweka kwa mgongo nikaanza sasa kumtafuta. Nikateremka hapa chini. Kwa tanki ya maji. Nikapata kukiwa na madamu na manyama.
Margaret started getting concerned about the whereabouts of her son Felix Wanyoike. She crossed over to the neighboring homestead where her brother used to live to check if her son was there, but as such, yielded no fruits. Moments later, she received a phone call from her brother inquiring whether she had found her missing son.
Kaniuliza, Muthoni, mtoto wetu yako wapi? Nikamwambia mtoto nimemtafuta, nimemkosa. Akaniambia wacha kushindwa kijisumbua, mtoto wetu alikufa jana usiku wa saa 7.
2 days later, police turned up at the Kawangware chief's camp and summoned Margaret to the chief's office. 2 officers asked her if she knew where her son was.
Kuja kaniambia, mama, wewe kijana wako anajua ako wapi? Nikamwambia inajua mtoto wangu kwa mochari. Kijana wako anatembea na watu wakubwa na sasa ako mochari. Hata baadaye tumekuondoshea shida.
The death of Felix was double tragedy for Margaret. Her husband, who was at that time suffering from kidney failure and tuberculosis for several years, died 1 month later. She insists that it was largely due to the shock of losing a son.
Hiyo kisa ilifanya baba yake alikufa.
International law allowed the police only to engage lethal force in self-defense or in the defense of the life of another, but in these cases, the line is blurred. Was it out of self-defense or just police impunity? What happened to the police officers who committed these murders? Did the police investigate their own? Did they conspire to eliminate youths with great prospects by framing them criminals?
Bunduki sio kijiko. What are they doing with those weapons?
Kenya's killing fields continues tomorrow.